Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Tuesday Breakfast Buddies online session. Hope you are all doing well this morning. So you can see that I'm joined by the lovely Rachel and Zach, who are part of the team down at the yard. And Zach's also one of our young people who comes along to lots of our different sessions that we do. So it's great to see you both with me this morning. How are we doing? You okay, Rachel?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Been busy. What about you, Zach?
I'm all right, thank you.
Yay.
Just woke up, got ready. Now I'm here.
Zach was just telling me before we went live, he's not long been up. I thought, oh, how lovely. I've been up since 5:30 this morning. I didn't need to get up at 5:30. I just woke up really early and then I couldn't get back to sleep. So, when you just think, oh, might as well just get up now. But it was cold, it was dark, it was miserable. So, yeah. So let's kick off with our internal weather this morning. Those of you who don't know, we do this to start off a session. It's a lovely way of describing how we're feeling, and we use the weather to describe, what sort of mood we're in. So I'll kick us off this morning then. So I would say today I am feeling a little bit cloudy, but there's a little bit of sun coming out behind the clouds, I reckon. I'm just so tired. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if it's the time of year. Yesterday was sort of, I don't know if you guys saw or heard, it was sort of named Blue Monday. Apparently it's the most depressing day of the year yesterday.
Oh.
I actually didn't feel too bad yesterday, but I feel like I've now got Blue Tuesday. I'm not feeling depressed. I just feel tired. And, like I was just saying, when you get up and it's dark and it's cold and you go to bed and it's dark and it's cold and it's just a bit like, oh, I'm sort of ready for January to be done now. But I'm okay. Yeah. The sun is shining, although it's very, very cold. At least the sun's shining, and once we finish this, I'll be taking my dog out for a walk. So I quite like wrapping up and getting out, and so yeah, I'm all right. A little bit of clouds, but the sun is coming shining through. Zach, what's your internal weather this morning?
Kind of like a cold, sunny day. Like
bit like today.
It looks bright. Yeah, it looks bright, but it's not as pleasant as you think it is.
Oh dear. But maybe that sunshine will start bursting through later and you'll be feeling all sunshiny and happy.
Yeah.
I reckon you will. You'll be good. Rachel, what about you? What's your internal weather?
I'm feeling quite sunny and I feel a bit, I don't know about cold, but I feel cold because of the weather. But emotionally, I've been feeling quite sunny, positive. I woke up feeling like, today's a good day today.
Oh, I love that. I love those days when you wake up feeling like that. That's great. Okie dokie then, let's kick off with some of the things we're going to talk about today. So just to let you know, within maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, Zach's got to shoot off, got places to be, people to see. So when they vanish from our screen, that is the reason why. They haven't just got bored of our conversation. Yeah. They do actually need to be somewhere. So we won't take it personally, will we, Rachel, when Zach shoots off? But yeah, let's kick off. So something we wanted to talk about today, some of people watching, if you're from Northampton, you may have seen an article in the Chronicle and Echo last week, and actually involved our lovely Rachel with an incident that happened last week. And actually, it's even on the BBC News now, isn't it? It's been picked up by then. So it's a really important issue. And we're going to let Rachel explain what's happened, and we'll just have a chat about it. So Rachel, tell us what happened to you last week.
So last week, I got on a bus service that were travelling from Riverside to town centre, and my bus pass, when I first got on, was told it's not working, not responding, and he's going to have to take it off me.
Well, just to let you know, sorry, Rachel, just for people watching, so you have a bus pass. Is it because of your disability, your bus pass?
Yeah, so I have a disability bus pass that's issued by the council. Yeah. And I was quite dumbfounded because it's never happened to me before. But I sat on the bus anyway because he did say just get on, and I was confused because he revoked it but allowed me on. But I was okay with that. And then I actually contacted Bianca saying, "Hey, this happened. Is this allowed?" And Bianca said, "It shouldn't be. You need to find out what's going on." And when getting off the bus, by this point, it was dark. It wasn't late, but it's dark.
It was dark,
and
yeah.
going home at dark is not ideal for me. And I didn't have my purse with me. That's something I should have foreseen, but obviously you don't foresee things like this to happen. And when I asked if I could please have it back, you could tell that he was quite conflicted in the video, and he even admitted saying that, "Oh, well, I can't because I'm on CCTV, I'll get in trouble." And it shows that there was something that was making him feel like I shouldn't leave her in this situation, but also I don't want to get in trouble. And
because I guess the issue was, as though they let you get the bus into the town centre, you needed to get another bus that night, didn't you?
Yeah.
That was the problem.
And the Britannia bus service, they don't accept like any card machine. So because I didn't have my normal card, I couldn't get cash out to pay. And I was explaining that to the bus driver, and unfortunately it didn't come across too well, and I was just left in a situation where I couldn't get on the next bus service in order to get home.
Yeah.
And thankfully I got home by reaching out to Bianca and helped me get a taxi home in one piece. And when I followed it up on the 13th to find out what happened and why it was taken off me, I was pretty much told to contact the council and be ushered away, and it's out of his hand. And when he was like, "I don't know what happened, I don't need to know," and I said, "Well, I can show you if you want to see." And he said, "No, you should contact the council." And
because you actually took a little video on your phone, didn't you?
Yeah.
You sort of asked us, so in the end, you were sort of begging the bus driver to, "Please, can I just have my pass back just so I can go home tonight?" But they weren't interested in seeing that piece of video, were they?
No, and it's sad because when I spoke to, looking at the end of the video, the bus driver said to contact the council, but at this point, it's gone 5. I don't know if they would have been open, but I don't know how they would have helped me get home at all. And so it was just a situation where they kind of cared more about protocol over
safety, your safety. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a common thing. Like, this story has gotten loads of people to speak out about their unique experiences with public transport, and it is something that should be addressed, and should be something to see if we can make some change where if you need to take the bus pass, maybe do a transitional ticket where it explains the situation so you can get home without being left-handed. I feel like that would be the best course of action.
Absolutely.
And I contacted Stagecoach CEO and no response. After hearing about being told that we need to wave buses down if we're stressed by the police, they recommend women who feel vulnerable to wave buses down so they can pull over and let you on so you're safe. And unfortunately, that kind of contradicts the statement the police are saying that what you should do for support.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess, the whole point of this, I mean, I actually saw you last week, not on the day it happened, but after the day when you'd sort of been into the bus station and were trying to sort of find out what had gone on with your pass and where it was. And, you really were very distressed. And from us talking about it, you were extremely distressed on the evening as well. And like you say, it doesn't matter whether it was late or not. 5 o'clock, that shouldn't even come into it. It was dark. You're a vulnerable lady by yourself. And surely, I mean, there's 2 sides to this, isn't there? There's a lot of people, I've seen some comments, and there's been some outrageous comments on Facebook and whatnot saying, well, the bus driver was just doing his job, which I completely understand that to a certain degree, but also surely there has to be some element of common sense and caring about people. I mean, I mean, God forbid anything terrible would happen to you, then that whole story would have been a different matter. And people saying, well, the bus driver was just doing his job. I mean, imagine those people would have been saying, how could that bus driver just let her go? How could that bus driver just, do you know what I mean? And I think that's the point you're trying to raise with all of this, isn't it?
Yeah, it's getting to the point of victim blaming, and I am no account saying that he's at fault 100%. There was miscommunication from Stagecoach for not telling me exactly what happened, and I was pretty much confused to why it all happened in the first place. And I've expressed in most interviews now to say that I'm not putting any blame on the bus driver, solely on him. It's about the fact that you could tell he was conflicted. You can tell that he wanted to help, but he was more worried about the repercussions of that. So it's more about analysing why protocol is the way it is, and why that is more important than women's safety.
Yeah. And something needs to change from above. So if these sort of situations happen again, the bus driver isn't in a state of feeling conflicted.
Because it could be the thing where he would get the sack by doing it. So it's something we don't know for sure.
Yeah, and you can appreciate that, can't you? You know, he might be thinking, oh God, I don't want to lose my job. There's CCTV in the bus.
Yeah.
But, you know, like you said, this needs to come from a bit higher above. So these sort of situations don't happen again. There needs to be a different system in place. Like you say, maybe a transitional ticket. Maybe even it's just a temporary card that they give out that just gives you that bit of, bides you that bit of time to allow you to get home safely, to allow you, you know, you don't drive. You know, taxis are expensive, so you needed to get home. And if, you know, your boss hadn't been able to get hold of Bianca, or you hadn't been able to get that taxi home, then where would you have been, you know? Zach, you use public transport a lot. Morning, Bianca. Do you ever have any problems with the bus service? I mean, what was it, Friday, when just 2 buses didn't turn up for you? And it's slightly different, but when you're relying on public transport, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
Like a few buses I've recently, at least, have been cancelled a lot. And it's like, the bus I get is the X4 to specifically get to Wellingborough. And 2 of them in a row just didn't show up. And there's usually a screen that says whether they're cancelled and what time they're showing up. But the screen doesn't work for some reason at my stop. So I had no idea it was cancelled.
Yeah.
So I was sat there for like an hour waiting for a bus in the freezing cold. Luckily, the next one showed up.
Yeah.
But the fact there's no telling like when a bus is going to show up at that stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you could just stay there for ages.
Yeah. And I guess, you know, if you've got to be at an appointment at a certain time or work at a certain time, you haven't got that flexibility of just being able to sit at a bus stop for an hour and hope that another bus comes along. No, definitely. I mean, I don't use buses anymore. I drive, but when I hear sort of all the stories that go on with the buses, I am so thankful that I don't have to, because it is really, really difficult for people, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Rachel, has your bus pass been sorted now? Are you?
I've gone to the library to order a new one, which is what I suspected after hearing the reason it was cancelled. It was, but I'm still waiting for it to arrive. So it should be with me at some point this week, but it's not yet. But I've got it with a new photo, so it will have me with pink hair, and it will be very clear that it's the new one.
Yeah. So what do you do in the meantime, though? Have they given you a temporary?
No, I've just been using, I've got some cash out and I'm using my change to get there and back. So it's like £3 for a return each time.
Okay, so, but that's not great. Surely there should be a temporary something in place, because what if you didn't have that cash, you know? Again, that's another sort of flaw in the system, isn't there?
Yeah.
Your pass has been cancelled. You have it for a reason. If you didn't have that cash available, then you're stuck.
I think, like, also with it, I don't know if this is the thing, but maybe people with disabilities are not really seen as people who are working. So they might see it as this is a bus pass you use for leisurely reasons over like having to get to and from places, but it would prevent me from being able to go out food shopping or be able to do this. But they'll argue that it will be the case of you can get food delivery or a neighbour can help you.
Yeah, and then you have to pay more for the food to be delivered, and then you know there's all different you know things that go along with that. It's not quite just as cut and dry as, well, you can just get your food delivered, is it?
Yeah.
So Manoli said it happens regularly. Stagecoach is taking the mickey because it's the only company in the area and they have no competition.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. And so they said that they use the bus as well. Oh yeah, you know, there's just so many different elements to your sort of story that are really, it's really important to highlight. Obviously the safety, and it's not just women, you know, obviously we always think of women's safety, but it's anyone's safety, isn't it? Because anyone, anytime in the dark, on their own can become vulnerable.
Yeah.
And surely that what we should all be doing is trying to make sure that people aren't put into those sort of situations. I mean, just this week or the end of last week, the Irish lady who went out for a run and has been murdered. I can't remember what the name is off the top of my head. The Sarah Everard case, when she was, there's so many terrible things going on. It's just like Bianca said as well, it's young people's safety. Well, 100%. It's very, people find it a very quick, like regarding some of the comments that were made that were just so horrendous. People don't read the whole story. They read a few of the headlines at the top and sort of put 2 and 2 together and come up with 5. It's, you know, what you really wanted to highlight is safety, and also the fact that, you know, you've got a disability, and the reason why you have that bus pass is because, you know, you can't walk far, can you?
No.
And it's just really, really scary, actually, the situation that they left you in. And I know it really, really sort of affected you. Like, you were really quite down about it all, weren't you?
Yeah.
But well, hopefully more people see this, and maybe we can start to get something changed with the whole system, how that works. And you know, maybe the fact that the CEO of Stagecoach hasn't got back to you yet, that's something that needs pursuing, highlighting with them, because, you know, just any this could happen to anyone, couldn't it? You know, what, you could lose your bus pass, you could, you know, lose your money.
So I've had my sibling help me put together a letter to send over to the CEO, and it is all about highlighting what protocols do you have in place, and what systems do you have in place in order to make sure people who are ever in an incident like this are safely escorted home. And that's what we're trying to find out and investigate. And it should be addressed, and it should be covered.
So Gary said, if you want to pursue it further, try contacting the local MP. That's not a bad idea. It may be well worth maybe following up with them. They may be able to sort of help you. Take it a bit further, a bit more clout behind it. But yeah, if anyone's watching and had any similar experiences or troubles with, you know, public transport, get in touch and let us know, because it's really good to be able, if we're going to try and push this a bit further forward and get something changed, to have as many different sort of case studies, so to speak, of things that have happened to people, because this isn't just a one-off, is it? We know that this is happening in different varieties, sort of, you know, all the time. And it is really important, because, you know, the streets aren't safe anymore, and we all need to try and keep each other as safe as possible, don't we?
Yeah.
Oh, so Bianca's just said that Michael Ellis is the MP.
Okay.
I've never heard of him. But yeah, Rachel, Michael Ellis, we need to target him, tell him what's going on. Okay, well, thanks for sharing that story, because it is really important, and we'll keep people updated. If we're going to try and sort of push this forward, it will be something we can let people know how we're getting on with it, can't we?
Yeah.
Okie dokie, let's move on to something else. So something I heard this morning, and I want to get your guys' view on this. So apparently 30 companies in the UK are trialing a 4-day working week. What do you guys think to that? A good thing, a bad thing? Zach, what would you think?
So they're only working 4 days and then they have the rest as a break?
Yeah, but they get paid the same amount as if they worked a 5-day week. So I think it's been tested and had really successful outcomes in different countries. I can't remember where off the top of my head, but we're trialing it here for the first time. And like companies now speak a lot about a better work-life balance, and people feel, especially if you do sort of a 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, it's a long working week, and then the weekend's over like that, isn't it? Finland. Yeah. Thank you, Manoli. It was Finland. And so we're trialing it in the UK. 30 companies have sort of said that they'll give it a go, and yeah, they're going to see how it goes. I mean, I think it's fantastic. That's like Bianca said at Community Courtyard and the Yard, we work to make sure that we've got a good working life balance, because it is really important, because you do want to have that downtime. This is how people get burnt out and stressed, and the family time and home time and that sort of downtime is as important, isn't it? I'm all for it. I think it's fantastic. And I think if this pandemic has taught us anything, it's taught us that there are new ways of doing things. I mean, who'd have thought big companies like Nationwide Building Society, Barclays, HSBC, and now over half of their staff are working from home in jobs that previously were told this job isn't possible to do from home. We've learned how to do things in new ways, haven't we? And like Manoli said, the trial of the 4-day week in Finland was a huge success. And I think that, for me personally, if my employer said, right, you normally work 5 days, but you're going to do 4 days and get an extra day off. And I think it was proven in Finland that people put in so much more effort, do you know what I mean? It's like, whereas if you're doing like, you might have a little bit of a check on this or on your internet when you're only supposed to be doing work, people's productivity was a lot higher during those 4 days than probably what they'd get over the 5 days. So yeah, what would you think? Do you think it sounds like a good idea, Zach?
Yeah, it does. It gives people a lot of chance to spend time with family if they have kids, and like that little unwind as an extra day. So you're not working 2-day break. Oh, it's over. Work again. It gives that little break.
Yeah, which people need, don't they? Yeah. What do you think, Rachel? Good idea?
I think it is a good idea, and it also opens up opportunities for people with disabilities who may not be able to work that many days in a row, and it can give them an option to be able to work and be able to feel like they are part of society and they can contribute as well. So I think this is going to be a really good step forward if it can be implemented well in the UK.
I'll just say, so Manoli's got to go. They've got a regional council meeting, BFWAU, in 10 minutes. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us this morning, and hope your meeting goes well. Hopefully we'll see you next week. But yeah, have a great day.
Thank you. See you later.
Yeah, well, I'm all for it. I think let's see how this trial goes. I think it's a really great thing, and I know that I think it would really sort of change a lot of people's work-life balance, which is I think is just really, really important, isn't it? So we'll see. I guess it's watch this space, see how the trial goes. Okay, so another thing which I saw on the news over the past couple of days. Have you heard about Morrison's, IKEA, Ocado, and Next, I think it is, have cut sick pay for unvaccinated employees who have to isolate. What's your thoughts on that? So if you're unvaccinated and you then have to isolate because of COVID, they are not going to pay you sick pay.
I think it's a way to be able to get the vaccine done, and I do believe that it should be sorted, but it doesn't mean that does this apply for people who can't get the vaccine, who it could detriment their health even more so?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Well, this was going to be my sort of thing. So I've sort of got mixed feelings on this because I feel that it could be slightly unfair because there are people out there who can't have the vaccine for medical reasons. So if they then fall into that bracket of then don't qualify for sick pay if they have to isolate, I do feel that that's maybe a little unfair. Like I say, I don't know the real sort of hardened rules of it and whether they may be exempt if you can prove that because of medical reasons you can't have it and therefore that may exempt you. If it didn't, I think it's unfair. I think there's so much COVID around at the moment. I mean, even just this morning, like my friend's just texted me, her little boy's tested positive this morning. It's just everywhere, isn't it? And if you can't have that vaccination, it's really, it just feels like it's a bit of a smack in the face for them when it's something beyond their control, isn't it? What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, like you said, if people medically can't get the vaccine and they've had to take time off because COVID, they should be able to get pay for that. Because number one, they're probably disabled and can't work as long anyway, so they'll probably need that money. And number two, they can't help it. They can't get the vaccine, they get COVID, they can't do anything about it. So it feels kind of unfair that they can't get compensation for that.
Yeah, no, I agree. So Gary said, I think there will be fallout with the sick pay for a few years. So, Rachel, do you think it's fair then if you've chosen not to be vaccinated, if you've made that decision that the vaccine isn't for you, is that then fair if you then have to isolate, you don't get sick pay?
I believe that there is elements of it basically like taking away the human rights of being able to choose what we can put and not put in our body, to the point where if you're not going to put a certain drug into your system, that means we're going to make life more difficult for you to function. And it's not the best idea at all to even put that as a suggestion. Like, if you're not going to get the vaccine, no sick pay if you're not well when you catch this thing.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're on your own then.
Yeah. So Manoli's just said, in our backyard it's even worse. Green Corps stopped the sick pay for all workers last year in October.
Oh, wow.
That's just hideous, isn't it? Really, it's just terrible. I'm so conflicted on this issue. Part of me thinks, well, yeah, if you haven't had the vaccination, you're willing to take that risk. But does it mean that they don't qualify for sick pay? It doesn't sit quite comfortably with me, if you know what I mean. And I think, like what you just said, Rachel, you can sort of see both sides of it in the sense, I mean, will that force people to then have the vaccination? I don't know. I guess that's what they're sort of aiming to do, isn't it? They want the majority of their staff vaccinated. But I don't know. It's a bit of a controversial one, I think. I don't know. Let's see. But I'm guessing now sort of big companies like Morrison's and Next and sort of things, I'm guessing it more are going to follow, aren't they? And it's watch this space, but it does seem a bit unfair, to be honest. I mean, I'm vaccinated and I'm all up for the vaccination, but people have their own reasons for perhaps not wanting it or such like. It'll be interesting to know. I might have a look into after this whether that includes medically exempt people, because that would be an interesting factor. So I'm going to have a look at that later to see whether they sort of don't come in with that core of unvaccinated, because that would be quite interesting to see.
Unfortunately.
Are you going?
I am.
Are you
Sorry.
going to the bus?
Yeah.
Well, let's hope your bus turns up on time today.
It better.
And you don't have to sit there for ages waiting for it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us, Zach. Have a good day.
Bye.
See you later.
See you tomorrow. See you later. And then there was two, me and you.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, let's move on. So I've got one other thing left to talk about, and I know you've got something you want to speak about as well, but Prince Andrew. or do we not call him Prince Andrew anymore? So he has been stripped of all of his royal titles, hasn't he? Did you see this?
No, I haven't actually.
So obviously there's the big scandal going on with, he was involved with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And I think he is going on trial in America because one of the young ladies is pursuing a case against him. And his solicitors, I'm not very good with the actual ins and outs of it all, but I think last week his solicitors put in sort of a thing that they don't want him tried as a royal. They want him tried as just like a normal citizen or something. Anyway, I don't know. They wanted to try and stop something happening, but they lost. So it's going ahead. This trial is going ahead. And the Queen is now, so he's no longer His Royal Highness Prince Andrew. I think he might still be the Duke of York, though. I'm not sure. But yeah, do you think he should be stripped of his titles? Is he worthy of them with the current ongoing legal situation he's in?
I believe that if with the royal titles, if he is representing the country and is representing the Queen, and he has done some action that are really against a lot of their values, he shouldn't have that title. He would have lost those titles that he should have respected. I have to agree. I understand that he was also in the monarch for a long time, but at the same time, this is something that should be addressed. And
100%. I mean, I think it's completely the right thing. I mean, like, obviously he hasn't actually been found guilty yet of these crimes that he's accused of. But I mean, when you see some of the photos and hear some of the things, there's actually a documentary on tonight on ITV, and it's about Ghislaine Maxwell and Prince Andrew. And apparently there's quite a lot of information. There's some like police officers who used to do like royal protection, who have got stories. It looks really interesting. It's on at 9 o'clock on ITV, and I'm definitely going to watch it. But I think 100% he should be stripped of his royal titles, whether he's found guilty or not. I don't even think he should be the Duke of York anymore. I think he should just be Andrew. I don't think, you know, whether he's guilty or not, he's got himself caught up in this sort of scandal. There's so many pictures and things like that, that whether he actually committed the crimes, he's been, you know, Ghislaine Maxwell was found guilty last week or the week before, wasn't she? She is found guilty. She's a sex trafficker, and he is friends with her. And apparently in this documentary tonight, it's going to say apparently that Andrew and Ghislaine Maxwell were actually boyfriend and girlfriend at some point. So
he would have known.
Yeah, so much more that's gone on there, and you know, I imagine half of it we'll never know. But I think it's the right decision. He shouldn't even, you know, be counted as a member of the royal family, in my opinion. He's really bringing shame on the Queen, isn't he?
Would he be getting more of a sentence then if it's having no title?
I think so. I think there's probably some sort of legality.
There must be a lot of evidence that points in that direction for it to be.
Yeah, definitely. Bianca says the monarch is outdated and we don't need it anymore. I mean, I don't know. I know there's a lot of royalists out there that absolutely love the monarch and, you know, love the royal family, and but there's a lot of people opposed to it as well. But you know, with regards to, I'm not even going to call him Prince Andrew anymore, to Andrew, I think it was the right thing to do. And I think the Queen was really left with no choice but to. Bianca's just put no. I don't know what you're saying no to, but yes, no. I think it's the right thing to have done, and I'm glad. But definitely, if you've got some time tonight, try and watch the documentary, because I think it's she's put, he isn't bringing shame to the Queen. Well, I personally think he's bringing shame on the royal family, because he's part of the royal family, and this massive scandal's going on. So there you go. That link to the royal family leads me to think it's bringing unwanted. I'm pretty sure the Queen wouldn't be happy with all of the accusations and all of the, you know, what's going on to one of her children. Yeah, well, that's what we've just said. He's an alleged child sex offender. Yeah, he is. So that is bringing, pretty sure the Queen doesn't want that on the royal family. So that's bringing shame on the royal family. And therefore he's been stripped of his titles. But until he's found guilty, I guess, if he's found guilty, that's, I guess, another thing, because you wonder how fair a trial it will be. I don't know how these things work, but you always feel like there's always something a bit dodgy going on, isn't there? Whether, you know, if it's an ex-member of the royal family, will they be treated as a normal person on the street who is an alleged child sex offender and undergoing, you know, these sort of allegations? I'm not sure. You'd like to think so. So Bianca said the women he hurt are most important. Well, yeah, obviously. If he's found guilty at the minute, again, he hasn't been found guilty of anything. But absolutely, if he is found guilty, and Bianca said the Queen and everyone knew. Again, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if they did know. Maybe some members or some aides of the royal family. But again, that's another thing that we'll never really know. We all make our own assumptions on, won't we? But anyway, yeah, watch the documentary tonight, because I think it'll be really interesting, and maybe give us a bit more insight into perhaps what he's alleged to have done or whatnot. But I watched a really good documentary on Netflix actually about Ghislaine Maxwell. Have you seen it? And Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes, I did see the Jeffrey Epstein documentary on Netflix a while ago.
Yeah, that was really interesting. It was awful, but there's one on Ghislaine Maxwell as well, and that's another. It's a good watch, but I mean, terrible what they did. But apparently, Ghislaine Maxwell's sort of lawyers and that are going to put in an appeal about her being convicted, because apparently, I don't know if you heard this, that two of the jury had suffered abuse in their younger years, and they're saying that it was an unfair trial because those jurors would have those jurors maybe would have been biased towards, you know, finding a guilty verdict because of what they've previously been through. Whether their appeal is successful or not, I don't know, but apparently that's what they're trying to do at the minute. But again, it's another one of those sort of watch this space, isn't it?
Yeah, it really does sound like it should be interesting to see how this all develops. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, moving on from Andrew. What was that story that you mentioned to me, Rachel?
Oh yeah, it was
on a lighter note. Well, not so much lighter note, really.
It was one in also Northampton, and a guy called Raynon Pennycook. So there was a 17-year-old Raynon Pennycook, unfortunately passed away after being stabbed in Corby on the 25th of May. And it was basically a teen gang violence and what happened. And it's just unfortunate for things like that to happen. Let me see if I can share this thing. See if that works. And there was a gentleman who used to live in Corby, who recently moved back, named Jack Richardman, and he was basically shocked to see that knife crime was such a problem when it was never a thing that crossed his mind when he was younger, growing up. And he's now he's got a charity help organise anti-knife rally and installed bleed control kit to the country, so it helps you stop serious bleeding. So
I've not seen that before. Emergency bleed control kit. It's a bit like where they have this sort of defibrillators, don't they? So it's like one of them. That's really good.
Yeah. So looks like he's making some massive changes, and he's now basically, where was it? Did it say? So he's now you got a Corby Olympic Amateur Boxing Club, who are also helping by keeping people off the streets by teaching them about kickboxing, and it's just a way to keep them off the street and not loitering around and getting all caught up in violence by doing something together in a controlled environment.
Yeah. And I guess that's the problem a lot of the time, isn't it? You know, like there's been, obviously, knife crime has increased everywhere, I think, hasn't it? And, you know, even in Northampton, we had those, there's been, you know, some sort of knife crime incidents in the town centre recently. And quite often it's, you know, people out on the streets that just have got nothing to do with their time. And I guess the whole point of sort of, you know, setting up this boxing club and in Corby is to try and get these young people into something a bit more positive, so they don't need to be out on the streets. And so they're sort of putting their energies into something a lot more positive, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And it's really nice to see that he is helping a lot of people, and he's also running you got under 10 sessions as well, so it's instilling a lot of values on how to deal with difficult situations. Like if you are in a confrontational situation, his advice is to mostly run away, don't intervene. But if you are in a situation where you are stuck, there's ways that you can handle it without being aggressive and in a safe manner as well. And I really like this quote saying that every human yearns to feel accepted, and that is our aim.
Yeah, that's very good. Because they say, don't they, statistics are that if you carry a knife, you're more likely to be the one that gets stabbed, aren't you?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's about educating people as well that, you know, don't carry knives, don't even do that. So Gary said knife crime is just going to get worse, I'm afraid. It is, it's scary. It scares me being a mum of a son. I worry more so. I mean, he's only 11 at the minute, but it worries me because, you know, it's getting younger and younger, isn't it? And you know, back in the day, there used to just be you'd have a punch up and a fight, but nowadays it's people pull out a knife, and it is really, really worrying. And I guess the problem is we need more of these sort of, you know, like this boxing club in Corby. We need more places for young people to go, you know.
Yeah, which is why we're really grateful being able to provide that for young children who don't feel safe on the street, or they are involved in those types of things, but they have a place to go to feel safe if things escalate.
Absolutely.
It's really important to see that youth workers do a lot to help prevent this, and it's amazing to see that it's happening not just here but in Corby and many other places.
Yeah, and I think, you know, like you said, you know, that's part of what we're about down at the yard. It's offering that safe space for young people to come to, where you can socialise, where you can do fun things, but in a safe environment. And you know, there needs to be more of that, and there's just a distinct lack of funding, isn't there? And this is the whole problem half the time, that there's just not the funding available for these sort of projects. But yeah, I mean, it's a sad state of affairs, because you're right, Gary, the knife crime is just going to get worse, and it's a massive thing that needs to be tackled, isn't it? But let's just hope that, you know, more projects become available for young people to get involved in, and try and get them off the streets and into more safe spaces as much as possible, really. Right, well, I think that about finishes up for the morning, doesn't it? We've had a varied topics we've spoken about this morning. You know, all from the bus service to a bit of COVID to knife crime and the Will family. a real rounded morning of conversations.
Yeah.
So don't forget, we have breakfast buddies in the yard Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 10:30 till 12:30. We're trying to keep it COVID safe, so we are limiting our numbers. So like I always say, if you'd like to come along and come down to the yard, which is 62 Gold Street, drop me a message. You can contact me on the yard at communitycourtyard.org or on any of our social media, and I can book you a space in. We'd love to see you. Come and have a cup of tea or coffee and a natter. And thank you for joining me this morning, Rachel. It was lovely to catch up. I hope everyone has a really great day. We do these every Tuesday morning. If you feel like you'd like to perhaps join us and be on the screen with us and have something you'd like to chat about, then we'd love to have you. Again, get in contact and we can always add you to our virtual little room here, and you can be one of our people talking about something you feel passionate about, or if there's something in Northampton that you think needs discussing, we would love to hear from you. Anyway, on that note, have a great day, everyone, and keep warm because it's freezing out there, and we'll see you all very